Hey friends, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Fit Life Orange County. And before I introduce today's guest, I want to give you a friendly reminder to give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube, assuming you get value, so that way we can keep producing this content for you for free. So now to introduce today's guest, who is a friend of mine and holy smokes, an incredible amount of experience in athletics, in aquatics, and he is the head of the pro and postgraduate department at the Nadadors here in Mission Viejo. So without further ado, I want to welcome Coach Jeff Julian to the show.
Here is Bryce Henson and Jake Stewart, your host of the Fit Life Orange County.
Hey, welcome back, friends, to another amazing episode of the Fit Life Orange County. And before I tee up today's guest, I want to give you a friendly reminder to like and subscribe this awesome episode so that way we can keep producing this content for you for free. So Jeff Julian, welcome to the Fit Life Orange County.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, our local podcast here, the mission is to inspire fitness, change lives, get people moving in Orange County to battle the obesity pandemic or epidemic that we're on. So definitely very excited to highlight you, the Nadadors, which is an awesome organization. It's been in South Orange County for a bit of time. So just really want to open it up to you. And I'm going to call you Coach Jeff because that's what you do. Give us a little backstory about the organization and really specifically your role and how you're involved.
So sure, I'll start with just the organization itself. The Nadadors has been really kind of at the forefront of swimming and aquatics. Swimming and diving is our focus. Forefront of aquatics since the 60s. And then when I say forefront, I mean leading the world in these sports and sending athletes to the Olympics from that time and really kind of dominating the 70s throughout that. And then since then, just staying on top of it. So to be a part of an organization like this is amazing. What we do here isn't, though, just about that top end. It is truly kind of that learn to swim, safety first aspect of being water safe and being safe around water. We're in Southern California. That should be a huge focus for us to make sure that we keep our kids safe just in normal everyday life. So that's a big piece of where it starts. But then we grow the athletic portion of it, whether it's the swimming track or a diving track. We kind of grow from there and develop up. And the Nadadors have been doing, like I said, for over half a century now. And it's been at the top of the nation, not only the nation, but the world in developing that. This past year, I joined the Nadadors just about a year ago, actually, February 1st of 2022, with a brand new venture for the Nadadors to create something that's not there in the swimming side of things. So I've come on to really kind of build and develop a performance center for both the college athletes that come back in between their college seasons, but then growing into our pro and post-grad division of really kind of servicing those athletes in a different way than they're serviced at all right now in the nation. So the Nadadors being part of that full community and full service in terms of those aquatic sports. And then even then, what means the most to us is really teaching those lessons and valuing the sport for what it gives way beyond just the sport itself.
Yeah, let's kind of unpack that a little bit. And from the age ranges, I'm curious. I mean, you talked about, athletes from young all the way to post, graduation. So, typically, what's the average age of your athlete, or I guess, the age range it spans?
Well, that's the great thing about it. We can really service everybody who wants to be in the water. We have our learn to swim, so that starts very early, trying to get people even just comfortable or the kids comfortable in the water. But we have adult learn to swim as well. And then it goes all the way through. So we have kind of that introductory to a competitive team into our competitive swim team or the competitive dive with lessons and everything along the way. And then on the competitive side, we move to kind of our new post-grad vision on that side. But then we also have what's called masters in the swimming world and diving. But we have kind of those post-grad, post-college adults that just want to stay in shape. They want to keep working out. Some of them want to compete so they can go compete against their like-aged athletes, or they can just train and just work out and have a training environment. But the water, again, it keeps that lifelong activity without the kind of the pressure of gravity and the pounding of pavement or whatever those things may come. A lot of people kind of have those joint aches and pains. Swimming is a great way to get that exercise, and that's something that we offer here too. Is from that really 18 and over. we have a master's program that people can stay in the water and keep training.
Love it. And you got to keep people moving, which is, I'm a huge fan of the organization. I've lived in South Orange County for, over 15 years now, and just, passed the organization many times over. And, I just have a huge passion for that, because I feel like today's day and age, interestingly enough, sadly, nearly half of our adult population is statistically obese. Another 30% is overweight. So that's 80% of our adults. And then you factor in 20% of our children are statistically obese. And really just, people are not moving as well as they should be. They're not active in their community. And of course, it's not, adults, hate to say it, are not really being good role models for the children. So I love it, the fact that your organization provides all this support and more. And interestingly enough, I like to talk about human movement and the exercise component, but I really actually want to unpack from your perspective, Coach Jeff, the value of the confidence building as well, because we have a huge aspect in our program at Boot Camp, Mission Viejo Fit Body Boot Camp, which is really a personal development and confidence building program in addition to fat loss and fitness. So I was curious, from your perspective, what sort of confidence do you see from athletes that basically have been a part of your program?
Absolutely. It's a huge difference maker for our athletes and our young adults. I mean, the world just keeps getting crazier to some degree, and having that confidence in yourself and what you did. And we lean on a lot of things, and we learn as we go, right? So the growth mindset type of idea of be willing to try something new and be willing to learn and grow always, right? And we try to emulate that as the coaching perspective. But for our athletes, the more they're willing to do that, and the more they build that confidence in themselves. And it's the great thing about swimming is you can always just judge against the time. The time has no emotional value to it other than what you add to it. There's no comparison value other than what you've done in the past. It's very clean that way. You're not comparing just to somebody else who may have a good day and there's nothing you could do about it, right? This is a sport that gives you, yes, that competition, but it also gives you that ability to just compete against yourself and just test yourself and continue to push. But doing so also build a certain confidence that doesn't have to be reliant on anything else other than understanding your process and understanding how you can work through something, because it's a challenging sport, absolutely. But that's part of the value of it, right? And that's why I love the sport is, yeah, it's challenging, and yeah, you're going to miss things by 100th of a second, and you're going to be challenged to those things, and you're going to go against people who you see may not work quite as hard, but you're going to race and get past them. And the confidence and belief they have in themselves to get through anything is, in my mind, is one of the biggest things that we can offer these athletes, without a doubt.
Yeah, love that. Another question, which is interesting, because when I think of swimming and aquatics and being in the water, I think of a very individual sport. You talked about the time, it's unemotional, which I absolutely love. But interestingly enough, what I've learned about my own fitness journey when I got into fitness, when I moved to Orange County nearly 20 years ago, I initially went in for the individual aspect, but really what I gained is a lot of coaches and mentors and really a community. So I'm curious, I genuinely have, don't have insight, but what sort of community building, if any, do you, do at the Netadors?
Oh, no, I think you nail on the head, and I think you understand it just by kind of your approach that you took. What I love about this, one of the things I love about this sport, I really do, is it doesn't have to be a team aspect, right? But it's always so much better to be a team aspect. So versus a team sport where it's a team sport just because you have to be 5 people together or whatever the case may be to play together. Doesn't mean you actually have to be a team. That's just a team sport because you actually all have to be on the same court at the same time and play together. Swimming, you don't have to. You can have that individual component to it. But everything along the way, you're going to achieve more with that team atmosphere, right? So my whole career has been about that. And now joining the Matadors is just kind of that next level of that same approach. Is you're joining, how I always look at it, that team is you're joining something bigger than yourself. So you're not just joining a team, and you're not just paying to be a part of a program, but you're actually joining something that's bigger than yourself. And it's so much easier to commit to something and push yourself and challenge yourself to kind of lead for that when you're going to something that's bigger than just your workout or your training or your goals, but you're involved with that community, right? And for us at the Natadors, it's always been about more than just our team. We try to get out to the community and do different runs and different things to be out there and to be involved in more than just kind of our sport, but actually giving back and being a part of that overall team and community around us.
Yeah, love that. Speaking of your background, which you've kind of indicated a few times, I'm curious actually to dive a little bit deeper. I love sports athletics because of the coaching element at play, and you kind of talked about the coaching and accountability because, very candidly, Jeff, to you and the rest of our audience, who many of you know my story, but I come from the Midwest. I was not a fitness guy whatsoever, but I had an awesome touch with fitness, and really a coach helped shape me, not only from the instruction, but also the accountability. So, curious, Jeff, on your background in aquatics and swimming, and also too the coaching element at play, and kind of coming full circle, how do you offer coaching to your kids?
It's so interesting, and you nail it on the head. One of the toughest thing is the accountability aspect, right? It's invaluable. It's a crucial piece to truly chasing your potential. It doesn't matter the eliteness of that you reach, right? But the accountability to reach that, and both internal accountability, but then also the coach knowing how to support and push and challenge all at times, right? So these athletes, as they progress through a program that's truly trying to transform them and teach them and have them grow along the way, they're going to be challenged, right? They're going to have those points where they're not necessarily happy with it, right? But at the same time, I've seen over and over again, the athletes that take the most out of the program are those that learn that accountability almost, right? Not that they just came in with it and knew how to listen and knew how to listen to the coach and be coachable, but the athletes that had to be challenged and the athletes that had to grow, sometimes through pushing through a parent to do so. But that value of that accountability is so big. And the sport is like a sport like swimming, just gives you kind of that aspect. My journey was, I was a swimmer and relatively good success in the water. But health-wise, 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, right? I was given 6 months to a year to live. So now my mindset is interesting because I've done a lot of reviewing in terms of my job and my career and what I do as a passion and what I really enjoy. But I keep coming back to really loving it and really finding the value of it for everybody who wants to follow the path, right? Because the path isn't about the result. And it's so often a cliche, but we talk about what a pro does versus an amateur or things like this. It's really just our mindsets and what we do and what we want to accomplish, right? So a pro has one mindset and they have a certain ability level in whatever they're doing to reach that. But the journey they're taking and those steps that they take and the challenge in yourself to push through and to fail at times and to fail forward, as you may say. But all of those things that are there offer things in life that can't be replaced, right? The value and the lessons that I learned in swimming, you can call it mental toughness or things like that, but mental toughness is even a strange term, right? Mental toughness for me is as much knowing when to back down and rest as it is when to push, right? I'm better at pushing than I am at backing down. But I know full well now, especially going through what I've been through health-wise, I have to back down at times. Otherwise, I'm doing a disservice to myself and my body at the same time, right? But that's what's so exciting about this sport and teaching life lessons through it. So I go and share my health journey. And I say I'm a coach, but I really say I teach life lessons through the sport of swimming because that's what I feel I do the most and what I feel that I'm the best at. And when you do that well and you follow that journey, the results come, right? That's all part of kind of that, knowing how to follow that journey and really be committed and passionate about something.
Wow. So inspiring, and I'm cut from the same cloth. I love that. I'm going to take that with me. I'm a life coach about life lessons that just teach through fitness, and you do through swimming. That's empowering.
What's up, my friend? Coach Bryce here. Now, you might know me as the co-host of this podcast and the owner of Mission Viejo Fit Body. But what many people don't know is that I began my journey as a fitness transformation story. You see, circuit training and nutrition coaching absolutely changed my life after being overweight with a diet of mainly fast food in my late teens. means. Now, upon my fitness transformation in early 2007, yes, I gained a much better physique as I was overweight and lacked lean muscle. But way more than burning fat and building lean muscle, I increased my confidence, my energy, and my vibrancy to live life. And it's for these reasons that many people join our boot camp. In fact, with our Ultimate Transformation Program, we guarantee that you'll lose at least 15 pounds in 12 weeks, or your program is free until you do. Now go ahead and visit our website at missionviejofitbody.com. Now thanks, and back to the show.
Just from a personal perspective, that's an incredibly challenging diagnosis. That was 8 years ago. Have you crossed that and came on the other side?
My journey's been up and down. I crossed that and came on the other side. And then about 5 years after that one, I was actually diagnosed again with stage 3B or 4 stomach cancer this time. So a different cancer, actually. It wasn't that it just spread. It was a different cancer. But I'm actually just recently out of that. My last 2 scans were clear. I'm off of treatment now. Taking my port out. So I'm actually, back to pretty much my normal. This will be an ongoing thing for anybody who's lived this. It doesn't go back to normal. But yeah, I'll go back to living my life every 6 months between scans now. Extended that a little bit. But yeah, it's a different mindset for sure. And I'm blessed to be able to make it through. Right. And I had a lot of support and a lot of things that helped me do it. But in the end, I'm blessed to be able to find that fit life that you talk about. And that's why part of why I'm excited to be on here. It's so important. Right. And I've always been somewhat healthy, but through this, just living a healthy life makes such a big difference for us. Oh man.
Well, you got such great energy, and I'm sorry to hear through those challenges, but I know, you just in connecting with you here, you have a strong mental toughness, no pun intended from what we just talked about. But good on you. So kind of transitioning, you talked something about your athletes. One of the last questions I'd always like to ask in the main part of the interview is just, some success stories in terms of your athletes. So I was curious if you have one or two that come to mind that, have been part of your aquatics and, really been successful.
Sure. So like I said, my particular journey here was about that post-grad. We just started it a year ago, February 1st. So mine's a little bit different, but we've jumped into it. And I have my son swimming, who's done great, but I'm going to focus on actually one of the first athletes that moved to Mission when we started this venture. I had worked with him at the International Swim League, which was the first kind of pro swim league that had made 3 seasons and then still kind of working out through some difficulties right now. But I had worked with him there, and we had put this out publicly. I had no set athletes coming in. We're just like, all right, we're going to put this out and try to build from scratch and see what we can do. And he jumped on it right away. And in doing so, made the world championship team in April, and then won his first individual world championship in July, I believe it was, of this past summer. So the Natadors got their first world champion in quite a number of years, jumping right into this. So it was an exciting start to begin with. But then, and not my perspective, but just the Natadors in general, what we really love to see is we have nationals on our top group, our national group right now. But we have swimmers that have been in the program from swim lessons all the way up to national competition in high school, right? And going off to this particular swimmer is going off to Notre Dame coming up. But that's the development and the family type atmosphere that we try to create there. And we see athletes like that. And whether they're going to Notre Dame and have made nationals, but those athletes that are with us and true teammates through swim lessons and develop all the way through and then continuing on their career to take it to their colleges, and whether it be Division III college or Division I and those top name schools. It's so much fun to see those journeys all the way through and see those athletes grow and continue to be able to take that next step in their swimming and be so excited. So yeah, we have so many success stories, but the ones that kind of go through the whole thing, come through it, are special stories for the Natadors.
Those are two pretty incredible stories to begin with, and that's incredible. All right, Coach Jeff. Well, I want to transition. You've been so gracious with your time, been able to provide a lot of insight, to the world of aquatics and athletics and movement and swimming, which is, just right up our alley here at the Fit Life Orange County. And now I want to take a few minutes, if you're up for it, to go through a lightning round.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Well, you're certainly a passionate guy, have a new look on and lease on life. What would you say is one of your biggest passions today, and why?
That I think a lot of it is that, and I guess spiritual growth, but really just trying to kind of understand my journey. I mean, if I was trying to pick it apart, it would be easy. But trying to understand and take advantage of the journey that I have and share what I can have is kind of been a big passion for me. Luckily, I'm in a position just in terms of my career, I can do that quite a bit. On a side thing, and just to kind of distract myself, I've gotten into woodworking. I enjoy building something, doing something with my hands that way, but really just as a hobby, just for fun.
Oh, that's cool. Good on you. We all need that. Next question: what's a unique value bomb about swimming, about athletics and aquatics that most people should know before entering the sport, but for whatever reason they might not?
I think people get distracted, I guess. So the value is kind of what I've talked about, I guess, along this podcast, but people get distracted by the sport being boring. You're just swimming up and down that black line all the time and get boring. And really what I'd hope you'd see is the value of this. And as we move forward and we see athletes or kids that aren't athletes anymore. So you talk about kind of that, the epidemic of obesity, we're seeing the start of that, I think, just grow worse in the decrease of youth sports, right? And people playing less sports for one. So for us and what we do here is it isn't just about swimming, and we're not trying to be just that. We're actually trying to build athletes and teach life lessons. So I think the biggest value that I see from the program is see it for the actual true value of our program, which is that team feel and being a part of something bigger than yourself, those life lessons along the way, and those things which are the biggest value that we offer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, two-part question. This is a local, show. What's your favorite place to hang out? We can maybe catch you on the weekend. So that's part one. And then part two, what's your favorite holiday as well?
Sure. So I'm, as you might imagine, being from California and a swim coach, pretty much an outdoor guy when I go out. So I like being on the trails around here, amazing trails in Orange County, or heading up the beaches are probably my biggest kind of hangout, leisurely places. Although I should say also that I'm pretty much a homebody at times as well. So I like my time at home and my introvertedness. And as a coach, you need to have that time. If you're an introvert, you need to specifically carve out that time. So I do carve out that time during the week. But with that, holidays, I guess probably, and I won't say a specific holiday, I'll say the week between Christmas and New Year's. And it's because it's always a training camp environment for us, right? So not that we can always be harder, but it's this focused period of training as a coach that's just fun. The kids aren't as distracted with school. They're kind of released from there. So their energy levels are up a little bit. And when I say kids, even my pros and things like that, the environment's just a little bit different, a little lighter, and it's fun that way. So I guess I'll pick that kind of the week between Christmas and New Year's is a fun week.
Oh, that's a great answer, and also very much in line with, I guess, your passion, which is great.
There you go.
Cool. Well, I got a few last questions. Say a parent is listening to this, someone in Orange County who maybe wants to enroll, their child into swimming with the Netadores. What's your contact information? Do you have a website?
Yeah. So the easiest would be the website MV, so Mission Viejo, but just mvnatadores.org. You're going to find all the information about our programs on there, and then some specific contact info based on what you're looking for. The swim lessons and learn to swim department will have all of their information on there. So that'll be a start for a lot of the new families that don't know about us. But those that are in between, we do have like summer leagues that we run. So lower level, less pressure, kind of an introductory type of into swim teams. And it's a great opportunity to get out there, be involved, and kind of learn what it's like to be on a swim team. Without that full investment, year-round teams can be intimidating that way. You don't have to think of it that way, but summer leagues may be a great way to start and kind of get involved in the sport.
Yeah, that's great. So kind of a two-part question on the same line. Maybe someone's watching this and they have interest and they're like, I can see a lot of value, get my child moving, get them in athletics, get them swimming, build their confidence. But for whatever reason, maybe there's a little apprehension or nervousness. What would you say is a kind of parting piece of wisdom to that person?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people do get, especially with a team like the Matadors, get intimidated. And they may not feel that or say that specifically, but it's a big venture, right? And anything that you do that's its own type of world is going to feel like that it's its own world and it has its own terminology and can get overwhelming really quickly. For me, it's always the same, and we say the same thing to the athletes. It's just take a breath. Everything works out fine, and it's really not as complicated as it seems. There's just a lot of stuff. So we get excited, we get passionate about what we do. Probably the same easy for a fitness instructor to do as well. We can get excited and get going and overwhelm people. It's like, whoa, can't comprehend everything you just said. But it's just kind of taking that deep breath and knowing that you're not the only one on this journey, and it's just kind of slipping in and learning things as you go, and just every journey starts with that first step, right? And that's really kind of that same thing, and everybody is that beginner to start. So it's taking that deep breath and just learning as you go.
Wow, I love that. That is the same advice I usually give my coaching clients. Just human nature, which is incredible. So Jeff, I appreciate that. So as we wrap, I always love this question, being that our podcast name is The Fit Life Orange County. So Jeff, in your words, what does living a healthy and fit life mean to you?
So for me, in terms of living that fit life, I think people get lost in what it would be in an ideal, perfect environment. We don't live in an ideal, perfect environment. So living a fit life to me is being aware of what you are doing and what you're intaking into your body and what your body needs going forward, right? You don't need to know every single step of the way. But like for me, during my health journey, I've come to realize that sleep is crucial for me, right? I need to be looking at that 8 hours and at least getting pretty close. Otherwise, I know I'm going to start going downhill pretty quickly, both physically and mentally, just my ability to think through things the same way that I want to. So sleep's been big. Dehydration, like we joke about, like I never remember drinking water as a kid. But I look at it now, and if I let my dehydration go, my body goes for a few days, right? So that fit life is just starting to learn what's going to be an impact to you, and addressing it and being better at it, right? So I think that's what it means to me.
Well said. Especially high amount of value coming from a guy that has so much experience and so much passion of helping the youth and just, helping our population here in Orange County and beyond move and live a better lifestyle. So Jeff, really appreciate your time today. This has been absolutely incredible. And audience, I know you've got a ton of value. Assume you did. Give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube, and better yet, share this with someone, maybe a parent or a fellow, colleague or a work person that can get some value and really get their kids and their family moving. So without further ado, we're going to wrap today. Jeff, thank you again, and we'll see you, my friends, in the next episode.
Thank you. This is great.